Hi, I'm Dr. Anya Hamrick, a former English professor who is now in computer science, and welcome to my crash course on technical writing for computer science. This is video 4, Usability Testing and Usability Reports. And in this video, we will take a brief look at what is usability and usability testing, at collecting user feedback, at planning your usability test and then conducting it, as well as how to report your results. I also link to some successful examples of usability reports in comments. So let's jump right in. What is usability? The term refers to the actual conditions under which a document is used by real people to accomplish a task. And it answers questions like, how easily could the users retrieve the relevant information? Have all of the essential steps been included? And does every step that needs a visual have that visual? It also gathers user feedback and helps you determine what kinds of revisions are needed with your document going forward. So what is usability testing? Well, it is a test that researchers or technical communicators perform to determine how easy a document is to use. And it often involves giving a draft of your document to potential users and asking them to perform the activities that are covered in the document. And the purpose of usability testing is usually twofold. You want to identify any potential omissions or ambiguous, confusing passages in your document, or you want to find a better way to organize or present your information. Now that we talked about what usability and usability testing are, let's take a quick look at collecting user feedback. You have several ways to do so. You can observe individuals attempting to use the draft, and you can do that in person, which is often preferred. Or you can video record it and review it later, or you can also use keystroke analysis. You can also perform user interviews after task completion. And this is often cheap if you're working with volunteers. It is low tech, but it is time consuming. And observation and user interviews are often used in tandem. User interviews are performed after the observation. Before you give your user test, you want to make sure that you plan it first. In doing so, you want to select your test subjects, and your test subject should fit your target user group. You want to ask yourself how many you should have. And the common recommendations for a large-scale project is 20 to 50 test subjects. For a smaller scale project or a project with a small budget, you can often make do with 5 to 15 test subjects. And for the purposes of school projects, you can often make do with 3. You also want to decide ahead of time what to test for. You should test for the organization of your information, including your grid design. You'll also want to test the clarity and the readability of your prose, as well as its completeness. And you also want to look at the appropriateness of your visual aids. You want to decide on your user tasks ahead of time. You want to ask yourself, what do you want your users to be able to do after working through your document draft? Also consider the characteristics of your user's work environment that may affect them during the test. And consider the attitudes or the level of expertise or experience that your users bring to the task. You also want to think ahead of time about the possible ways that your users may misunderstand the task that you have set before them. Finally, you want to design the test, and in doing so, you want to summarize the purpose of the test. You also want to outline what you want the users to do. You want to make sure to thank them for participating, and also, importantly, inform them that they can quit if they become too frustrated. Now that we talked about planning your usability test, let's switch to talking about conducting the test. You want to be present during the test, ideally, so that you can record any comments users make during the test, This also affords you the opportunity to note any problems the users have or the requests for help. You can also identify passages in the draft that confuse the users or note problems that have with finding information. You can also note the information that is redundant, is not used at all, and those thus can be skipped over. And you can also note any strategies the users use to overcome obstacles. Of course, you can do all of this if you are not present and the session is video recorded, but that would take much more time in reviewing the footage. Before the test is administered, if you are using special equipment, you want to make sure to demonstrate that equipment. You'll also want to explain to your test subjects how to think aloud, how to speak during their thinking process as they attempt to go through the document. You'll also want to describe the tasks to your users. But once the test begins, you want to make sure that you do not talk to your testers so as not to influence the outcome or the process itself. When concluding the test, you want to make sure to explain to the testers what you were in fact trying to accomplish. You want to answer any potential questions they may have for you. And this is the point at which you would finish with your user interviews. Now that we talked about designing and administering your usability test, comes the important part of reporting your results. And the purpose of the report would be threefold. First, you want to include evidence from your test that would support your later claims regarding essential revisions to your document. You'll also want to demonstrate your skill and competence as an employee or a student in planning and executing the test. And finally, you want to show that the usability testing process actually yielded valuable insight, and that insight will significantly improve the quality and usefulness of your draft documentation. In writing your report, you want to assemble and analyze your data. Your report should be brief, yet complete. Usually you would aim at about 2 to 3 pages. The report should include the objectives of your test, the target user's level of knowledge within the subject matter that you were testing, a description of your test subjects, the tasks assigned to your users. You want to describe what actually happened during the test. Optionally, you can include any comments from your users. Most importantly, you want to include plans for revisiting your document and revising it. And in your appendix, you need to include a copy of the instructions that you gave to your test subjects for additional context and so that your task can be reproduced in the future if needed. In the comments, I include some links to successful usability report examples, so feel free to explore that. And this concludes video 4, Usability Testing and Usability Reports. I'm Dr. Anya Hamrick, and I hope to see you in video 5, Ethics in Technical Writing. Thanks!